Hello everybody, welcome to the third episode of the Worgologi walkthrough live stream. Could you please let me know if you're able to access the chat? I don't see the chat on my side, I'm wondering if it's enabled or not.
Worgologi. 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 Worgologi.
Alright, it seems like I fixed the chat issue on my side and we can start playing the game. As before, we will enter the same name we used last time so we can get all the progress preserved. We were playing with the name Tabo, with this character. Let me remind you that you can pick your character. There are a few options. You can see these options by clicking on different characters. And also, as before, we will play the extended version of the game, Saga, which has all the features so that we can explore these features as we play along. Sanctum and Arena are shorter versions. They only give access to certain specific parts of the game, whereas Saga includes everything. Alright, now we are in the village view, and as we can see here, we already have from episode 2 a Grandmaster title in Wisdom Keeper path and an expert title in the Sage of Worgologi path. The Wisdom Keeper path is based on individual quests, whereas Sage of Worgologi is based on the overall quest we make, overall progress we make across all the quests. And thanks to these titles, also the title screen is a bit different. You can see here the view is different than what we started with. So this was as a kind of a reward of the progress we made. We were able to see this screen. By the way, the music that you hear in the game, all of it is specifically made for the game, and it's original music that's copyrighted to the game makers. We can explore the village a little bit. We can start maybe visiting this hut where we find the progress we're making in each individual quest. And we see here that a new character has shown up. Thanks to the progress we made last time, we're now able to also play a different kind of quest we haven't had access to previous time. So let's go directly to the hut where we are able to take the quests, and we can perhaps move on and look into Eos spiritual quest. I hope you're all ready for us to engage with Eos spiritual quest. Let's get started. So this is Eos quest, and in this quest, one thing that you notice is different from what we had previously is that now we have these special powers. Each of them can only be used once. This one and also the other one. We will explain a bit more what they are for when we use them during the game. Let me just remind you once again that this lever increases and decreases the volume. There is music that you can hear, individual music for every separate quest, and the volume of that music is controlled by this lever. Let's read the rules for this specific quest. It says all general rules apply, except that diagonal steps are also possible. Yay! Now we are able to make diagonal steps. This will also give us much more possibility for writing words. Then penalty for not using an axiom correctly is 1 endurance point. That's usual, like before. And the awarded wisdom score is halved. Each time you choose the first plate, all plates shapeshift. Oh, this is quite interesting. Every time we step on a plate, all the other plates that we haven't stepped on shapeshift. Remember previous time with Runner's Quest, when we made a turn, when we made a word, after that the plates were shape-shifting. This time, with every single step, things shape-shift. In the spiritual realm, your first step is never certain. So we now have to write a word that contains either L or M. And if I begin somewhere, let's say begin here, you see, it has now changed. So I began with O, but everything shape-shifted and it's actually C. These are the kind of challenges that AO is quite accustomed to overcoming. And so now she will take us on this journey with her exploring this very uncertain world of this specific quest. Where do we even begin? Does it even matter? Because anywhere where we're going to click, that letter will actually change afterwards. So probably it doesn't matter. Maybe we begin somewhere in the center, maybe not. Let's just begin randomly here. Oh, how lucky we are. It turned out to be exactly M. And M is one of the letters that we need to have, right? That's good. So what can we write with this M? Now, if I take it back, if I step away from that M, then next time I click there, it won't be M anymore. So I don't want to do that. So I do have to use this M since it already fulfills the axiom. Well, I could write me because diagonal is allowed. Maybe I could write mu, M-E-W. It's a name of a Greek letter. Maybe even muse. To make it plural. I think mu also means something else, some kind of a plant if I'm not mistaken. So that would be a 4-letter word. Could we think of anything else that's even better than this? For instance, we could write mash, M-A-S-H. Now with the diagonal steps we have so much more possibilities, right? Anything that is more than 4 letters. If you can think of anything, please write it in the chat. So, shall we go for muse? Or can we write a longer word? Maybe we go for muse. It seems like none of us have anything better to go with. We retrieve the lost knowledge as before, then we obtain a score of 16 because 2 to the power 4 is 16. And now we can think where to collect our next word, which must contain E. Now this might be a challenge because, for instance, if I try to get this E here, as soon as I click it, everything shapeshifts. So we don't have much choice, I guess, right? Maybe it would be wise to choose a letter that goes through that is adjacent to an empty space, so that maybe these empty spaces can give us more opportunity for combining more letters. So strategically, maybe it's best to choose a letter in the surrounding of the empty spaces, because they don't space shift. Empty spaces stay empty. So I'd go for, let's say, this one. And then we have R. R isn't so bad, but now we want to form a word that contains E. Is there any E in the neighborhood? Well, there is one here, right? We could potentially write Ray. Can we do something better than that? You see, once you've selected a letter, then after that nothing shape shifts. After that everything becomes fixated. I might have said this a bit incorrectly in the beginning when I said that every time you select a letter, things shape shift. It's only when you start a word that it happens. What about roll? I see a word roll here. Is rolled something? Let's try. I don't think so. No, it isn't. But we could certainly write roll. Anything better than that? Remember, we can take diagonal steps as well. We could write rust, but again that's 4 letters, but then it doesn't contain E. And we do want a word that contains E. So maybe we go for roll in that case. It will be another 16 points. Let's see what these special abilities are for. It says drop on a non-empty plate to empty it. Oh, that's nice. If, let's say we want to write a word that goes, that has an obstacle that we want to reach from, say, from this space to that space, but there is an obstacle along the way, because maybe the letter U shouldn't be part of our word, then we can turn this into an empty spot by dropping this there. Let's look at the other one. What does the other one do? Drop on the wish box to shuffle non-empty plates. Wish box is this one right here, the one that's used for filling the question mark space. Well, we probably don't want to shuffle things at this point. In any case, things get shuffled so many times. It doesn't make sense to shuffle them. Another thing we need to take note of, and actually, I don't quite remember this, but I think, no, I think we are able to use these abilities at every quest. I think if we use it once, we don't lose it. We can still use it for other quests, but I'm not completely sure about that. Anyhow, the next word should be such that if it contains A, then it must contain S. Where do we even begin? Maybe somewhere again next to an empty space. So this one's E, and we're looking for a word that, if that word begins with A, then S must be there as well. Any ideas? I would go for something different. Let's try again. Maybe we'll get a better word. Here I already see something nice. Gasps. This would be 5 letters. And it does fulfill our axiom, because it says if A is there, S must be there, and indeed, A is there, but S is there as well. So the axiom is fulfilled. Let's go for gasps. The next one shouldn't have S in it. Now, there's something interesting we can do here. We can go for maze, and we can even go for plural of maze by going down here. Oh, actually we can't, because this area is blocked. But we could still turn the question mark into S. So I'm going to then select S here in the wish box, and then do that. But maybe that's not a very clever thing to do, because the axiom says that S shouldn't be in the word. And now we've made a word with the S in it. So let's take that back. And instead, let's do something different. We could still do maze, of course. That will be 4 letters. But do we see a word that is longer than that? How about meat? Well, that's 4 letters still, right? Oh, what about maker? M-A-K-E-R. Now, if we reach E this way, then there's no way to get to R because we can't cross the path. So instead, what we can do, we can make some space so we can come back diagonally maybe. Would that be possible? Well, at least we could do this. No, actually, not this way, yeah? What if we... What if we try to go down here? If we pass to this spot, this will take health away from us. So that's not a good thing to do, but otherwise we would have been able to write maker. We could write market. Which is even longer than maker, right? Maker has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters. Market has 6 letters. Let's see if market works. Mar and then cat. It does work. Oh, why do we have market with an S? Because I went over the question mark with S in the wish box, so I need to clear the wish box first. Make it empty. And now we can have market. Let's go for market. The next one is an axiom that says if T is in the word, then I must be there as well, and vice versa. So either we have a word with both T and I in it, or with none of them. I already see something. Oh, I was going after T, but of course I forgot that when I click on the letter, then everything shapeshifts. U is probably not a very good letter to start word with, so I'm going to try again. A isn't so bad. We could write agile, right? Agile with an E, if we can find E somewhere. There are question marks, so we could definitely get E there. But now let's think about this strategically. So if this were E, then we could have E and D. So this would be past tense, right? Something done in the past. Maybe we can write a long word with ending with E and D, but starting with A. Let's see if we can do that. it is a bit difficult to have a word with starting with A, right? How about armed? We could do armed, R, A, and M, and then ED. And then we can go back by going through this health spot. We select E here. Oh, I passed E. So I have to go back all the way to come back to E. There we go. Armed. You can see the confirmation of the correctly spelled armed there. Well, that doesn't actually show you if the spelling is correct or not until you click on the Retrieve Lost Knowledge button, but you can at least see what you've spelled. It's more difficult to read it off from the board itself because it doesn't show us the sequence in which we selected the letters. Armed sounds good. We can retrieve the lost knowledge here. I might not have told you about the story behind Worgologi. So the idea is that lost knowledge is scattered throughout Africa, and we want to retrieve the lost knowledge. And we retrieve the lost knowledge by visiting various sites, accompanied with these expert lost knowledge retrievers, like Io, for instance, the one that's helping us now. And each time we find a word through chasing letters attached to the plates, we basically uncover some fragment of the lost knowledge. As I was speaking, I noticed that Io also has an amulet here that's shining a bit. Let's see what happens if we click on it. Oh wow, this is the same feature that Essie had, remember? Essie was able to tell us what is the meaning of each logical symbol. And so it seems like Io is able to do that, the same thing. So here, for instance, she tells us that the implication is a mathematical connective for expressing truth-value dependence, saying that x implies y is true, means that y must be true, provided x is true. But if x is not true, then x implies y is always true, irrespective of whether y is true or not. Well, this is now attached to the specific axiom, which, interpreted in the specific case, tells us that the word must contain doesn't have to contain E, but if it does contain E, then B must also be there. But if E isn't there, then it's fine. Then the axiom is fulfilled. Anyway, so we have to now pick one letter randomly. Oh, it ended up being a question mark, and since we had selected E on our wish box, it ended up being E. But now our axiom says if E is there, then B must be there, and it's probably difficult to find a B. Well, there is one B there. Would we be able to write a letter with E and B? It feels that there are not so many words with E and B, right? So, sorry, I think I said would we be able to write a letter with E and B. I meant to say we would be able to write a word with E and B. But I don't think there are too many words with E and B, so I took back my move and I'm going to try again. Maybe R is a better starting point. Let's see what we can do with R. RE could work. A word can start with a re, meaning to do something repeatedly, so to the second time. Re something. Let's see what we can attach to re. For instance, requite should work. But if we do requite, we need a T also. I see the Q there. We'll have to get back to T here somehow. And that might be hard. We can still try. So, oh, we could get to that T, by making a diagonal step here instead of a straight step, then we could go all the way and do our requit. But perhaps we want to make plural of requit so that we have more letters. Remember, every next letter gives you double the points. So instead of doing that, I'd aim for doing requits. And to do that, we would probably want to chase after this S. So instead of blocking that S there, I'm going to run a move here, then do my U and I. Because I created this diagonal gap, I can now fetch the T, and then after that I can fetch the S as well. Now the only problem with this word is that it does contain E, and the axiom says that if the word contains E, it must contain B, otherwise we'll have a score that's deducted. So if I go for this word, then even though the word contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters actually, we will only be scored as if it contained 6 letters, because every time we don't fulfill the axiom, the score gets halved. So the last multiplier of 2 will basically end up being ignored for the last letter, because it will be multiplied by 2 and then divided again by 2. We do have a B here, so maybe we can try better and actually write something with a B. Instead of requits, we could maybe go for re and then something with B. What about rebalance? That would be a very ambitious thing to write, right? We would need an L and then A-N-C-E, sorry. We could also do rebates, right? So we could go for rebates. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters, just as before, but this time B is also there. So what would be the score? It will be 2 to the power 7. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. That will be a nice score to have. Let's go for it. Yay. Our score now is 288. This one needs to have both S and A in it. That might be a bit of a difficult one. Let's see. Oh no. We clicked on a plate, which after shape-shifting became the one that takes health away, and you see our health dropped. So we probably want to take this back and instead try again. Starting with H. Are we optimistic we will be able to make a word starting with H, and that contains both S and A? It's a pity we can't have S before H. Well, we could write has, right? Or we could even write hash. But you look at this. We've got E and R here, and we could have something ending with ER, which is a common ending, and then have that combined with S. So there's a potential here for a very big word, maybe. Like, for example, hunters, right? Hunters could work. Do we have a U somewhere? We don't have a U. I was seeing the N and T there, so I thought we could maybe write hunters, but there is no U. Soap we can't write anymore, unless you were referring to the previous one, because if I take off my move from this plate, then the letters will rearrange. We might not have that word soap anymore. Since I already made the first move, then the word has to start with H. So thank you very much to Sia for all the suggestions in the chat. Let's see if we can do something starting with H. Maybe Honer. Is there such a thing? Honer? What if we do something like hinders? Do we have an I? We don't seem to have an I, right? What about herder? Someone that herds. Do we have an R? We have an R here. And remember, we have this special ability to eliminate one of the non-empty plates. So we could potentially do that. But to get to R and then be able to continue, we would have to go... well, maybe we can fetch the E maybe from there. And then we could come into R this way, eliminate this block, come into R, and then it'll be RD, and then go around, and then finish with ERS. Shall we try that? So then we'll be using our special ability to eliminate one of the plates. Hope, H-O-A-P. Hope could work. Well, we could also do hopers, H-O-P-E-R-S. How many letters would that have? H-O-P-E-R-S. That will have 6 letters. Herder, on the other hand, has H-E-R-D-E-R-S, 7 letters. So I think herders would be better. Drop on the wish box to shuffle the non-empty plates, and this one is to empty. There we go, we emptied that one. I hope you heard the sound of explosion. So we've got here herd, and then we need ERS, and we can get that through here. However, herders will not contain A, and we need both S and A in the word. So herder is not going to work. But we could maybe go for harder instead. But if we go for harder, then we can't have plural, right? What about hardens? Would we be able to do hardens? H-A, and then R-D-E. Do we have an N? And then we just need S after that. I think we might be able to get... And then the S is there. Let's do hardens. I just want to make diagonal stubs so that I can cross them as well diagonally. So here is my hard. And then I could go this way. And I want to fetch that E, and then come to N, and then do S still. Oh, but I could do S with a question mark. So then I don't have to worry about this S. We now set the S in the wish box. And that letter will be taken by the question mark. Hardens. How many letters is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters. Not so bad, right? What's 2 to the power 7? I think we calculated this before already. 2, 4, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. Oh, wow. Are we actually getting 256? Cool. Let's double check. 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. No, sorry, I think I miscalculated the first time. It will be 128 still, right? And does a double check that the axiom is still fulfilled. Both S and A are there, so that part is fine. So we can just go for it. Yay, we already have 416 scored. That's fantastic. If S is there, E must be there, and vice versa. Aged. We could write aged, right? Well, aged has E, but not S, so then we'll get a penalty. Let's try to begin with something that's not a vowel as a first. Honeys. Oh. Honeys was a good suggestion, but I think we've lost it now. Maybe we can begin with D. D-O. What about doping? With double P, right? And then we need N and G. Do we have an N somewhere? Oh, I thought we had an N. Oh, we have a question mark here, right? So we could do doping. I hope my spelling for doping is correct. So this needs to be N. And then we can have plural dopings. That would make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-letter word. That will be fantastic. Then our score will be 256. Wait, we have to be careful with the S there, because if S is there, then E must have been there as well, and E won't be there. So it doesn't make sense to go for that S. Rather not go for S so that we don't lose health as well. Oh, my spelling for doping wasn't right. What shall we do then? Doesn't seem like we have a lot of possibilities. Let's try something else, some other letter to start with. Again, A. No, A isn't good. Oh no, we don't want to lose health there for nothing. What about P as the first letter? We have an A there and a D. Do we have an I? We don't, but we could go I with a question mark and then N and then G. So I'm thinking of padding, or maybe pond, something with pond. Ponding? Ponding wouldn't be a word, would it? Pondering is a word, right? Isn't it? Pondering. Is pondering a word? P-O-N-D-E-R-I-N-G. That will be a long word. But would we be able to write it? Ponder requires R, and we don't have R. Let's try something else. Oh, again P, okay. Maybe we can write it now, because, well, R is still not there, but there's a question mark. Pages. Let's go for pages. Well, I was gonna say that maybe pages doesn't satisfy the axiom, but actually it does, right? So let's go for pages. Can we still though? So we can have a G with a question mark here, but then we'll need to have E and S. No, we can't do it anymore. Probably this was a suggestion for the previous view. Maybe P isn't such a very good letter to start a word with, so let's try again. Oh, now we've got a question mark with N there. What about nudges? Could we write nudging? So nudge and then ing. So we could have, no, we don't have enough question marks for that. Yeah, I think let's just go for nudges. It will be a 6-letter word. Both S and E are there, so the axiom will be satisfied. Oh, could it work? Could it have worked? Sorry. Pages could have worked previous time, but I already wrote nudges. There is a bit of a delay, unfortunately, with the stream and the chat. So that's why I'm not always able to pick up on what is said in the chat. Where do we begin? Let's try something here. E. Better to begin with a consonant, right? Again, E. L. Well, we've got ing, so ing is a common ending. For instance, we could write loaning, right? We could also write lashing. Could we write something a bit longer? Probably not. Let's go for lashing then. We just have to carve our path carefully so that we are able to go through all the letters we need. So that would be A. Now I would want to go into ing, right? So I'd have to pick up, if I do lash here, I'd have to pick up I first, then go back for N, and then go back for G, and that's quite complex, so I need to be more careful with my choice of letters here. Yeah, probably it will actually be difficult to get eventually back to G, because we have to go from I to N and then back to G. Maybe we can write another word that's as long without going through A necessarily. But if we don't go through A, then which vowel do we use? Maybe E here? Learning we could also do, right? But then we'll need double N, which we don't have. And also if we use A, then we have to use I as well. Sorry, A as well. If we use E, then we have to use A as well. We could still write possibly leaning, could we? Let's see. No, but then we'll need 2 N's, which we don't have. We could do loaning. Would it work? But then there is no E. There is A but no E. Otherwise it would have worked, right? No, it wouldn't have worked because, again, we need two N's for that. Lime. Thank you for the suggestions here. Lime. We could write lime. And that has E. But if it has E, it must have A. So lime isn't the best choice. It's pity to give away the ing ending. We could have done something wrong with that, but maybe it's too hard to begin with L. Also, these vowels are squeezed in there too much. Oh, what? Yeah, sorry, I thought I saw something, but again, it was needing two N's. I'll just give it another try. This time we've got a question mark. Let's try one more. Beam. We still have potentially ing, do we? No, not really. Let's try our luck again. And one more time. What about this arrangement of letters? R and E is a common start of a word. Re something. But there is no A, and we need an A together with E. So we try again. Oh, maybe this one can work. We could do bread, right? We could do breads, but bread doesn't have plural, does it? What about beard? Beards. Should we try that? So first we'll have to have E, then A. I would actually go, wait, I would go this way. And then D and an S. That's D. And now we did an S, and we can use the question mark for that. Not entirely sure though if this is a valid word, but it was. Great. Our score is 544. Now we need to have either H or I. And it's quite a strict requirement, so we can try our luck. Usually when there is empty space to start with, then it's better to start with empty space, because then you can start with any letter that you choose, not necessarily the one that you picked first. So in fact, previously when I was suggesting to start with something that is next to empty space, a better suggestion would have been to just start at empty space, and we can have a choice of how to begin the word. Do we see either H or I here? We don't, so we try again until one of them comes up. Here is H. Hinder, but there is no R, right? Let's try again. Help. Help could work. Helps. Let's do helps. The axiom says either H or I must be there, and indeed H is there, so we're fulfilling the axiom. Next one shouldn't contain A. We don't really have much choice here, right? Better strategy actually would be to try to write a word that includes as many letters as possible, and then for later words we will just have to skip the turn by collecting empty words. We just have to be sure that that empty words can be collected without losing all the score, because some axioms might not be fulfilled by the empty word. Could we write a long word? Maybe we want letters without Q there. Can we write a word with all these letters? Let's try our luck again. Let's try again. I'm just trying to see if we can get nice letters there. Oh, there's an ing again. So the reason why it's better to write a longer word than many short words because every time you write next letter, the previous score gets doubled. But every time you write separate separate words, then the score just gets added to each other. I'm sure we will be able to write a word with these letters. For instance, nasty. We wouldn't be making use of all of them, but maybe that's good enough. Nas, and then nasty, and then we can do Y here. Maybe we shouldn't go through this plate, because if we went through this plate, then we wouldn't be able to do anything else afterwards, and well, with one letter we won't be able to write any word in any case, so we might just as well finish it off. There we go, nasty. Oh, but nasty contains A. Sorry about that. We don't want A to be there, right? Look at the axiom, it says A shouldn't be there. Let's try again then. Doesn't seem like we're able to get nice letters, right? So maybe we should just see what is the best we can do with the given letters. We could certainly write tin here. And it doesn't contain A, so everything is fine. And the next one shouldn't contain E. Let's see what we've got here. Well, we can't do much with 3 consonants. We could do don. I think don is a word. It doesn't contain E, so we'll be good. Now the next one must contain both A and E, and obviously we won't be able to write such a word because all the letters are gone now. Irrespective of where we start, nothing will show up. So we just retrieve the empty word. Nothing will happen to our score, but our health will get deducted. And we can afford that because there's only 2 more axioms to go and our health is still 3 units up. So with Z implies Z, empty word does satisfy this axiom, so we'll be fine, just retrieving that. And we'll have 1 more health deducted with T or G. Overall, I think we achieved quite a good score. This is probably one of the highest scores we've ever achieved, 593.5. And there we go. The quest has been successfully completed. We earn our score of 594. We can now visit a Wisdom Keeper Spirit to see if we will get promoted in our Wisdom Keeper path. We were Grandmaster and we stayed Grandmaster, so we didn't have enough score to get higher than Grandmaster. In fact, Grandmaster, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is just 1 less than the highest level we can get to. So we're quite at a good position at this point. If we look at leaderboard, see who scored how much with this game, and we are on the 2nd place, you see. The only score that's higher than this one is a score of 854, which is a bit higher than this one, but we are at least on the 2nd place. Now let's visit the Sage of Worgologi Spirit to see if we will get promoted in our Sage of Worgologi path. We were at the expert level and we didn't get promoted. It says not promoted, so we didn't reach high score enough to get to the next level, but at least we are still on the expert level, which is not too bad. And we can visit the Sage of Worgologi leaderboard. Our score now is 219 for the overall score. We can visit the leaderboard and see where we are. In our standing, we are on the number 4. That's great, actually, right? There is still quite a big jump from there to next scores. You see there is 2,000 and 7,000 up there. We can now go back. Each of these screens have their own music. What we can also do before ending today's episode is to see if we unlocked any further artwork. So we played Io's quest, and you see we did unlock another artwork. So we've got 2 artworks from Io now, this one and that one. For the other quests, this one is Rano's quest. We already saw in the previous episode we had these artworks unlocked. And then for Essie's quest, we actually haven't got anything unlocked for Essie, because we need to have a score of 512 just in Essie's quest to unlock artwork there. And for Nari's quest, we only have 1 artwork that we've unlocked. Let's go now to the overall progress map. And no new characters have shown up, but of course now AO has moved from earlier stage where it was initially to this stage, so we went quite far. We kind of skipped 2 steps in AO's path. And this guy over here, his name is Kojo, if I'm not mistaken, and he's got a very interesting gameplay, which we will look at in the next episode next time. So that was the third episode of Worgologi walkthrough. Thank you very much, everybody who joined.
Ayo drifts
Specifically,
through
thank you,
moonlit
Sia, for your
dawn,
contribution.
where shadows dance on
We'll
hidden
see each
floor,
other in the fourth episode.
carrying voices of ancient lore. She weaves them into breath once more. She's the spirit weaver in endless flight, crossing the veil each sacred night, gathering whispers from far off skies, bringing back wisdom where truth never dies. Symbols rearranged beyond her sight, like streams of color and shifting light. She must read the runes that swirl and gleam to unlock the lost Worgologi dream. She's the spirit weaver, forging a way between realms of dusk and crystal day, carrying